Hey out there, it's time for another Sonic Boom Vlog. This episode is Cabin Fever. Let's see. Kind of a recycled plot from an earlier episode. Can an old scientist crash on your couch? And there was an appearance of another toy variant in this episode. We'll get to that. The episode begins with Amy Rose judging a sandcastle contest. Sonic makes a very nice sandcastle. Tails makes a sandcastle that's identical to Sonic's. Styx, probably forgetting what the point of the contest was, basically built herself a little fort which she was hiding inside of. And Knuckles made a little pile in the sand. That's when a storm rolls in, and Sonic offers everybody shelter within his shack, to which they say that it would be safer to go out in the storm. Okay, once again, I must reiterate, this is probably the first continuity ever that actually has Sonic living in a house. And it's a house that nobody really wants to go into during a storm. Poor homeless Sonic. So they all go to Amy's house. It's much nicer there. So Amy is all gung-ho about this being like a nice big sleepover, like a slumber party where they can play games and watch movies and do all kinds of stuff. And, but the thing is, well, Amy's kind of a stickler for details. Like, she wants everybody to do everything according to some, pre-planned, rigid idea thing. And, everybody else just kind of wants to kick back and relax. They want some snacks, and she goes and prepares some complicated hors d'oeuvres, which is very fancy food, to which everybody just artlessly wolfs it down. Not sure if they even got to properly taste it. And then Knuckles criticizes them for not having enough ketchup. They also klutz around. Knuckles accidentally breaks the horn off of her glass unicorn, turning it into a glass horse. And, well, basically everybody just kind of acts like a bunch of dicks. like, really, I mean, this is your classic housemates from hell storyline. They're just not very good house guests. They're all kind of rude, and they bust things up, and they're annoying. Of course, Amy is not the most gracious host, being the perfectionist and she being a perfectionist and, you know, kind of judgmental, really. So she tells everybody to just sit down and wait for the storm to pass so they can all leave when everyone's sitting on the couch. So you know, what do you do when you're stuck sitting on a couch with nothing to do? Why, you rifle through your friend's drawers. That's what you do. And he finds a book called A Rose Without Thorns, which turns out to be a play Amy Rose wrote based on her friends. There's Sonar the Hedgehog, who is a wanton egomaniac that plays volleyball with himself because no one else can keep up with him. Shoulders the Echidna is the dullard farmhand. Twigs the Badger, who gets advice from toasters about the approach of the robot apocalypse. To which Styx replies that there can only that it's the can openers that'll warn us of the impending robot apocalypse. Although she talks to a non-electric can opener. Like, if the robot apocalypse is gonna come along, you'd think that it would at least be the electric can openers that would warn her, not just a random piece of, you know, like that would be like if this pair of scissors here would warn me about Skynet, you know? There's nothing in this thing. Like you need, come on, Styx, at least have it be an automatic mechanical device. And then I forget what Tails' character name was, but he was just some naive fox child. He was naive and cowardly in the book, in her play. That's what I'm trying to get at. So Amy, incredibly offended that Sonic rifled through her drawers and read a private manuscript that she had written, was completely pissed. And everybody else was pissed that Amy would write so derisively about them. And it causes them all to fracture, and they set up their own little kingdoms. Like, they all set up forts. Like, Amy hides in her kitchen, and where she'll prepare fancy hors d'oeuvres for herself to savor without ketchup. And Styx sets herself up in a nook. And this is where the toy variant comes in. Let me see. Okay, remember this? Let's get closer to the camera. The Styx variant that has the war paint on. Come on, give me light without glare. Ah, screw it. Yeah, this. Styx had this war paint on in this episode. So the figure is justified because it appeared in an episode. Honestly, she could have had that war paint on in an earlier episode and I might have forgotten, but it was in this episode, so there we go. Let's see. Knuckles sets up a blanket fort for himself, implied that it's the most cheaply built because it collapses on top of him a couple times. Sonic covers himself in couch cushions, and what does Tails do? Tails sets himself up in a hardware knuckle. They all build their own forts, is what I'm getting at. This part of the episode starts to feel like Rugrats. Like if Rugrats heard of Game of Thrones, and when they weren't allowed to finish watching it, they just made they started acting out as best they could, because they start talking like they're controlling fiefdoms and kingdoms. Knuckles tries to offer Amy a blanket to get some more to get some snacks, to which she refuses, claiming that it's not cold. So Knuckles, who's part of the room, has a thermostat in it, increases the air conditioner up to the point where icicles start to form on the walls. Meanwhile, Tails has given Sonic a necklace made out of paper clips so that he may watch the Sidekick Wolf show on Sonic's TV, because Sonic's part of the room has a TV in it. So they're watching the TV show together, and we interrupt the show for a little bit of prop comedy, like a shoehorn. It's a shoe that goes honk honk, and he pulls out a really tall lamp from a really short box like Mary Poppins, and Sonic's like, Why do you watch this? Like, it speaks to all of us sidekicks. Sidekicks. Oh, Tails, you've been in a solo game, and I'm pretty sure you could carry a solo game yourself with your technical genius. But we're going on. I lean on my own knee because it's a little more casual. So with it getting increasingly cold in the house, they're trying to fight Knuckles. To which he says that he refuses to turn up the thermostat until Amy gives him some snacks, and Amy says that she's not budging. So Sonic rallies Styx and Tails to get into a fight with Knuckles to end his oppression, whereupon they all grab pillows and they start pillow fighting to a parody of the Benny Hill music. Benny Hill is for chase scenes, it's not for pillow fighting. Then again, I'm pretty sure there might have been some sexy pillow fights set to the Benny Hill music. I mean, those Benny Hill things always ended up with pseudo-erotic stuff like this. So they fight and they fight and they fight, and feathers get everywhere, and they completely wreck Amy's house. And then when the feathers settle, they notice that the sun's out, the storm is past, and they all want to go. And Amy says, "You come into my house, you criticize my food, but eat it anyway. You break my stuff, and you're not even gonna help clean up." So she just leaves in a huff, and everybody realizes that they've all been a bunch of jerks. And they realize that Amy's play wasn't bad. They had a bad knee-jerk reaction to it, but really Amy just wrote a bunch of cartoon parodies of all of them, and that's not really particularly bad or offensive. Although it's adorable when cartoon characters refer to parodies of themselves as cartoons. That's like cartoonception. So to make it up, they all decide to perform a grand gesture for Amy. Um, uh, they blindfold Amy and say that they got a surprise for her. And she says unless that surprise is a clean house and a glass unicorn, she's not interested. But they sit her down on a bench, and it turns out that they set up a stage production for her play. Yeah, and like all the people in the town are there. And up on the stage, Dave the intern plays the part of Amy. It's kind of funny that it's Dave the intern, although this would have been a perfect time to cameo another female character, like maybe have another Percy cameo, or maybe the Goat Girl could have done it. But you know what? Let's dress Dave the intern up in a dress and put an Amy hat on him. That's funny, right? Man in woman's clothing. That's humor. Okay, so they put on the play, and there's apparently intense sea battles and all this stuff, and it was well received and everybody liked it, and they invite Amy up onto the stage and she thanks them all for such a warm reception. But before she can really say much, there's the storm comes back, and Sonic says, who wants to go crash at Amy's house and wait out the storm? And then everybody in the audience runs to Amy's house, leaving Amy standing up on the stage completely flabbergasted at this turn of events. Okay, so... Like I said, this is kind of a recycled plot point of the Bad House Guests plot, which, although this time it's everybody being a dick to one person instead of this one annoying roommate that is messing up the house. And you know, I understand that this can only take place in Amy's house. I mean, Tails' place is a workshop. Like everything there is just power tools and equipment and stuff. Sonic's place is apparently a shack. Styx's burrow is kind of like from an episode of Hoarders. Like Amy is the only one with like a nice dwelling that you would want to keep neat and clean. So it's only taken place in her house. Wait, have we even seen Knuckles' house? I don't think that's come up. Or if it has, it hasn't really been focused on. And yeah, I guess like seeing everybody and I mean, this kind of shows Amy's characteristics. Like she's not shown in a completely positive light because she is kind of a perfectionist and she tries to control everybody, but she's not entirely unjustified in her anger because not everybody isn't really the most accommodating of house guests. So like this is a point where like this character isn't perfect, but you can see their side of it, and that everybody would actually shows how everybody cares about her feelings. How like when they were distracted by their own situation and weren't really thinking about Amy's feelings. But once they were no longer contained by that storm, they could almost literally take a step back and see what they've done and realize what jerks they had been. So yeah, this is an episode where everybody gets a chance at a little bit of personal growth. I mean, it's not some big continuity affecting thing, but you know, it's still funny. All right, so I wouldn't say this is one of my favorite episodes. It's an average episode of the series. It's just good. It's a good episode, not great, not bad. It's a solid entry in the franchise. So with that said, I'm not lying down in bed because of an exhausting week this time. So I would like to see you all again next week for the next Sonic Boom vlog. And happy Halloween to everybody.